So hi. How are
Hi.
you? Good to see you. Last time I
I
saw
know.
you was at the mastermind
Oh
so
my
long ago.
gosh, it's been so long ago. It does, like in some ways it seems like years,
I know.
and like some ways it seems like just yesterday. Like how could it have been like
I
oh,
know. And how's Colton Cash? I have to ask.
he's awesome. He's loving having mom work from home so he can do school from home.
Yeah.
And really digging that.
Yeah.
Really digging that. So
Well, I love that. And then you got a puppy named Thor.
yes. Yes, we were supposed to go to Disney on like March 14th.
Oh,
We had like, this was like our big trip that he's been waiting for. And it was literally like the day everything shut down. So
you were
didn't
like,
go to
"Get a
Disney.
puppy."
Yes.
Oh, those are such like classic gifts. Like Disney World puppy.
Yes, like we went to the Humane Society just to like pet puppies because we were kind of bummed, nothing cheered you up like petting a puppy, and then it was like walking out with a puppy, like oh my gosh, what have I done? But
so that quick, you went to look and immediately left with one. Wow. That is hilarious. I couldn't find a puppy. I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get a dog. I've had dogs before, but always like got rescues that were older. And then I was looking for puppies in LA during the pandemic quarantine, especially at the beginning. They were all gone. Like everyone was adopting puppies like crazy. So I actually got mine from North Carolina. Like,
oh my gosh.
I know my partner thought I was crazy. Well, you met Ben. Ben was like, "You're going to North Carolina to get a puppy." I was like, "Yeah, you got to do what you got to do."
Yeah.
And now he's
mom needs a puppy.
Now he's obsessed. Yeah. He's like, "Okay, I get it." He didn't grow up with dogs, so he just didn't get it. I was like, "You don't get it."
Yeah. My son Colton is like a major dog lover, and we have actually, so Thor is our third dog. So yeah, we've always adopted older dogs, and he's wanted a puppy since he was like 3, and it's always been no, we're not home enough. Well, he was like, you ain't got no excuses now. Like, okay, you're right, let's do it.
I love that. Puppies just make the days better.
Oh my gosh, so much. Yeah.
Well, so it's been so long since we last talked. Do you want to maybe start at usually I like to have people kind of walk me through like their story from beginning to end, but maybe we could start where you are now and then we can jump back to some of the stuff. So like, what does your life look like now? Are you copywriting? Are you working full time? What's your niche? All the stuff.
Well, okay. So basically I'm at a point where, I've kind of figured out that like what I actually like to do and what I actually want to do instead of just like doing whatever comes my way.
Yep. That is a good place to be.
Yes, it's so awesome. And so I'm transitioning. I completely just like, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 ago, switched my niche.
Whoa.
Yes.
Like way late in the game. I love that.
So yes, what I always say is you're not married to your niche. Like, just, you can always change it anytime. So I, and I guess I was in health and wellness and writing a bunch of blogs. And so I've switched to just like launch copy to like just
awesome.
Just like the high ticket, kind of stuff.
More direct response, more like action now. Funnels, basically. Different. So you're writing all the different elements within that, like emails and I'm guessing.
Exactly.
What are the different elements in a lot of
I mean, like a little bit of Facebook ads, sales pages.
Nice.
email funnels. I'm still doing a little bit of websites just because I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I guess when I say launch copy, not 100%, but you
No,
know, more just like copy instead of content, more like blogs and stuff. So I mean, kind of what led me to that point was, you know, just doing stuff over the years at this point. It seems really
right.
weird. And just realizing like, okay, so I can write an email sequence in a day, charge $3,000. Like, okay, that's where my sweet spot is. You know what I mean? Like I can do, you know, if I could do 4 of those a month, that's, you know, 4 days and 12 grand. Like that's where I want to be, you know?
Yeah.
So
Is that what your months look like right now? Because
no, I'm not there yet. But
okay.
and I've still got my other clients. So like, you know, I'm not like dropping everybody and, you know, just completely changing. I'm still got like my other clients that I do, you know, blogs and emails and, you know, little stuff for. Right. That's more on like a retainer basis. So
yeah. And so for those, are those people you've been working with for a while now?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everybody that I got when I, you know, went full into it, I'm still working with. So
amazing. That's because for me, what really helped was, you know, what I, you know, encourage is those relationships, because when you have clients for years, you get a chance to try different things. You know, they'll come to you and be like, hey, will you write a white paper for me? You know what I mean? They're much more likely to give you new types of projects than cold emailing someone and being like, hey, let me write your landing page. And they're like, I don't know who you are.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, and that's, you know, selling high ticket items cold is difficult, you know, like it's very hard to get people to trust you. So, that building up of the relationship, and it's not like I literally like have love in my heart for my clients. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, I'm just so happy for you. And, you know, they're just nice people. And, you know, it's just like, it makes it so rewarding, you know?
I like some of my clients. I mean, I feel like if somebody, you know, looked at some of my clients and they would probably be like, why do you still work with these people? Like, you're not like really earning a ton.
Right.
You know, and I'm not like upcharging them more because it's been so long. I'm like, but I love them.
Like, right. Yeah. It's like,
you know,
it's just a really cool, you know, especially coming from, you know, jobs where like it was a complete nightmare for most of my life, you know, like where you're treated like absolute garbage and, you know, like you're not worth anything. To have, you know, relationships with the people that you work for technically it's really cool.
Yeah. No, I love that that's been your experience, because that's been mine too. Because that was what made the difference for me. Like, you know, there was a transition period where I just took anything I could get and it was miserable. And I was like, why am I doing this? And and it didn't feel much better than like the crappy 9 to 5 that I left.
Right.
And then when I started like really being intentional about the clients I was going after and like building relationships with, I was like, okay, this is really enjoyable. I like love my people now.
I mean, I definitely had a period there where, I mean, at the beginning, you know, where it was like, okay, wait, do I even like this? I don't know, you know, like, is this the dream? I'm not sure.
Is this the dream? What have I done? I know. I think that's totally normal, though. I really do. Because it takes time to figure out what you like.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no way that anyone can tell you what you like, you know?
Exactly.
And what's gonna make you new and do it.
It's I mean, you can't. There's so much that you like when you jump into something, you realize like how much you really don't know, you know? And yeah, I mean, the whole reason, because I had heard of copywriting before. I had actually bought a copywriting course probably almost 20 years ago.
Whoa.
I'm a very slow processor. Okay. So I had bought it and I tried to do it a couple of times and I could just never get through it. You know, it was like, ugh, just salesy and gross. And like, I just didn't like it, but I loved what they were selling. This idea of like, work for yourself, work from home, just right, blah, blah, blah. I never got through it. I've tried 3 or 4 times, could never get through it. So what attracted me to your course was write blogs. They don't have to be salesy, you know, like it was like, oh, this is amazing. You know, like I was so sure that that was what I wanted, you know, and then the more blogs I wrote, I was like, you know what? I really kind of like the salesy stuff. Like,
yeah. Well, I think it takes some time to really like know in your bones that you can write like direct response sales copy that isn't sleazy or slimy and makes you like feel like you need to go take a shower after.
Yes.
Consumers today want like more authentic, genuine, heart-centered like communication. And I honestly don't think I could have been a copywriter 20, 30 years ago. Because it's changed so much.
Yeah. It's there's definitely a lot more integrity and heart, you know, and I think a lot of that too is, you know, again, who you choose to work with. You know, I'm drawn to working with women. You know, my copy would not fly, you know, trying to sell a men's product, you know, and I have no interest in doing that, you know. So definitely it, you know, it's who you choose to work with and who you decide to. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of, or it took me a lot of like skill building and confidence building and, you know, I guess like examining kind of like my self-worth kind of thing, like to be at a point where I could say like, okay, you know what, anyone new I'm taking on, I'm selling, I'm doing sales copy, you know. So you know, you just never know. You never know what you're gonna like, you never know where it's gonna lead you until you try it, you know.
The world of copywriting is so vast. Like there's so many different variations and varieties and flavors. And it's just and you don't know that when you get started, you know. And it took me years to get to a point where I wasn't just like, you know, basically working for, you know, content mills and stuff. But even today, I'm always like amazed. I'm like, oh wow, that's like a whole industry I've never even thought of. Like, I don't know. I was so unaware in my own bubble. And so
there's like there's so many different, and it's, you know, kind of overwhelming when you first start, because it's like there's so much that you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, and then it's like you stumble across this on the internet. It's like, oh my gosh, well, do I need to know that? And then, you know, maybe I should, you know, learn how to put the emails into the, you know, email client, and maybe I should study that, and maybe I should study this, and maybe I should do you know, and then it's like, okay, you don't really have to, but you know, it's hard to not
I was gonna say that was like one of the main reasons I created this course, was to point out some of the things that like you don't need to do. You know, like you don't need to also do graphic design. You don't need to design your landing page. You don't need to put it in the back end of an email platform. Like you don't have to do those things, because that's not talked about a lot. And I was always like, oh no, there's so much more. And it's funny because as time has gone on, and I don't know if you found this too, when you start to really realize how vast the like world of information is within copywriting, now people will say things to me, you know, somebody would like name drop someone. And I would get, early on, I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't know that term, that phrase, that person. And I would be like mortified and try and like work my way around it to like maybe not show that I don't know it. And now I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. I haven't heard of that person. I don't know what that means. This is a new jargony sounding term. And you just kind of get to a place where you like accept it. So I don't know if that's like happened.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely not afraid to admit that, like, I don't know what you're talking about or what's going on. You know, like, I mean, and so often too, it's like you do know what they're talking about, but they're just calling it something different, you know?
Like
Like,
Yep, that happens.
um,
Yeah.
so, obviously, I've studied and learned as much as I possibly can with the understanding that I'm never really going to know it all. I'm not going to be an expert in all of the things, but,
Mhm.
I'm just going to keep trying, keep plugging away.
I love that. It's so funny because you can kind of know that, but I really just, that's one of those things that the only thing that where you're gonna feel that in your bones is through time.
Yep.
Just showing up and
Yep.
continuing to do it, and then you're
Yep.
like, okay, this
Yep.
is true. This is
And
true.
it's like, yeah, I think, at the beginning, like, you're like, okay, 6 months to six figures, or you know what I mean? Like whatever
Mhm.
the fast goal is, and it's like, okay, yes, but like even if you're there, you're still gonna feel like you don't know what the heck you're doing, like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
the
still
only
experience
thing
that.
that fixes that is time and practice and experience. And that's such a boring answer, but like,
And
you
things
know,
are gonna change. Like that's the other thing. You know
oh
what
yeah,
I mean? Like one day, hopefully, Facebook is obsolete, and we'll have to
right,
like,
right.
and we'll have like a whole new thing that we have to like
Yes,
learn and
yes,
figure out to find
yes,
clients or
yes.
find groups online, and yeah,
And that's, I mean, that's like, to me, incredibly appealing, because it's like,
yeah.
that's what makes things exciting, is when you get to learn new stuff and figure out new things and, try new stuff instead of like just going to work every day and doing the same thing and blah, 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 punching the time clock,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. No, I
so I love
totally,
that.
totally agree. So you want to maybe backtrack it a little bit and talk to us about when you first started and maybe how you got your first few clients and what did that look like? And yeah,
Okay. So
do you remember?
I,
I'm
it's
just
like
kidding.
been almost 2 years, which I can't
I
believe.
know
That's,
you're like, you're an OG. Like,
it's like, I mean, the time goes by so fast, it's like I really had to stop and think about it. It was like, has it really been like, have I really not quit my job like a year and a half ago? Like, that's just insane to me. But so, um, yeah, I don't even remember how I came across your ad, but um, I had promised myself that like I wasn't going to put anything else on the credit card, because I had tried to do an Amazon FBA thing and charged up
mm.
a bunch of stuff and it didn't work. So I was like, okay, no more credit card. You got to pay this off. And then it was like, okay, but one more thing. So,
Oh man. Yeah.
so I, and I had also tried to do a course on graphic design and a course on being a VA, and neither one of them felt like the right fit. But it was just, I was in a place where I was like, okay, I'm either gonna just die sitting at this desk or sitting in my car on the way on the way to work, and just that's it, like that's my life, or like I need to like do some things that make me feel something.
Mhm.
So when your ad came across, I was like, okay, I didn't even like think twice about it or research it or anything. I was just like, yep, I want that, I need that. I went through the course pretty quickly. I listened to it like while I was commuting,
Mhm.
um, and I, implemented stuff at night while after I was off work, working on figuring out how to do my website. I mean, I put my website up. It was not very good,
Mhm.
but I was just so shocked that like I could even do it, just like, oh my gosh, there's actually a website, and I did it. And but even before I put up my website, I ran into a girl on the Don't Keep Your Day Job Facebook group
Mhm.
who had posted something that was like, I'm looking for a writer. And I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but can I do this? I
Yeah.
have no website, I have no portfolio pieces, but hire me, please. For somehow she did. And very quickly, I guess she figured out that I was probably a better writer than she was. And she just like kept on giving me stuff, giving me stuff and giving me stuff. And, you know, it started off with like, you know, $35 for this and, you know, $75 for that. And, you know, eventually after, you know, a few months of that, she was like, okay, like, let's do this for real. I'm going to pay you a retainer. And basically she offloaded all of her work to me. Whoa. And paid me to do it. And so that was how it started. And I had sent out a bunch of cold emails, and I had a target date in mind. It's like, okay, I'm going to be gone June 1st from my job. There was nothing that, you know, at the time that I set that date, there was nothing that like would say, okay, yeah, that's a realistic expectation. But it was just like, that was it. I made up my mind. I wanted that date.
Yeah. I love that.
Like saying this, I'm like, gosh, I'm crazy. So I got one other client of my own, who was a pretty like high profile doctor. Right. Like, you know, someone that it was like for me, like dream. So yeah, I quit my job when I had the retainer work from this other girl coming in and the one doctor. And I got a lot of experience working for the other girl. She wasn't really a copywriter. Like I was writing a bunch of like just little kind of nonsensical content kind of things, you know, just like little newsletters and, you know, whatever. But even still at the beginning, I would sit there like, oh my gosh, I've got to write this newsletter for this janitorial company. And like, oh, you know, so felt so much pressure, you know what I mean? And then like, but doing it over and over again, it got to the point where, okay, I'm building confidence in the fact that I can come up with ideas, that I can come up with subject lines, that I can, you know, pick the right gift to stick into the thing and make it funny or whatever. And, you know, I ended up working with some really high profile realtors, some of like the biggest ones in the country. And I did a little bit of social media, found out that was not fun for me anyway. not my forte. Just a lot. And then, so yeah, just kind of like a bunch of like varied experience, not necessarily copy related, but I mean, I whittled that down to the point where, I mean, I could get it done so fast, you know, like, I mean, we're talking like a couple of hours a week for, you know, more than what I had been making as a full-time salary. So it was like, you know, okay, yeah, this is the dream. Now my doctor client, I was writing these 2,000 plus word blogs. I mean, they were taking me 8 to 10, sometimes 12 hours to do. I mean, it was like, you know, every blog was switching topics, you know, like, and things that like I had no idea about. But man, you know, I got a lot of experience doing those. And it took me a long time to figure out that like the problem was I just didn't really like writing that, you know, it wasn't
right. It was taking a long time.
Yeah, it was taking a long time. It was like, I got into this mainly for freedom, you know, and freedom to me is not having my butt glued to my office chair, you know, sitting like this for, you know, 10 hours time. So
right.
So, but I kept on doing them anyway, because it was like, you know, I loved this person and I loved, you know, just like the experience I was getting and, you know, being a part of their team or whatever, like, I don't know. So I kept doing that, went to the mastermind, and like, it just kept coming up of like, you need to quit writing for this other girl. Like, I mean, it was so clear, you know, God, angels, universe, whatever you want to call it, was telling me like, okay, you're copying out. you could do so much more. You could do better. Like, you're not really building the business that you want to build. And I mean, she was a nightmare, just agreed to all kinds of crazy deadlines, just like total space cadet. I mean, it was just like, yeah, it was no good. So
you got to make space.
Yeah, exactly.
Guesses.
But you know, like I did with most other things in my life, I kept, even though I kept getting these signals in my heart that I needed to move on, I didn't.
Yeah.
So I my son and I went on fall break, and I had worked like double time to do all of the work that she needed for during the week, you know, so that I could take the week off. It was the first time that I'd taken a week off in like years.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, where we were like, okay, we booked to go to a hotel for a full week, you know, like that was something that, like, you know, was just never in the cards, you know, like we could never take off that much time. We could never, you know, spend that much money, frankly. And so it was like the second or third day of the vacation, and she's texting me at 8 a.m. Are you gonna do blah 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 blah? And it was like,
nope, you gotta go.
No, I'm not. And screw you, you know, like I told you I was on vacation. And so basically I told her to, you know, go stick it with one client of my own.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you know, probably, you know, so was it really a good choice to have me tell this story to other people? Because it's not the best example. I don't know.
No, it is, because it's all this is one of the main points that I feel like I really do try to like drive home, because I have actually very similar stories, but it wasn't just one client, it was many clients like this where I was like, why are you still writing for this person? You have to. And the only thing that really like, you know, got me out of the fear bubble, because it was all fear. Like I was so scared of letting go of these crappy clients that I wouldn't have like something to replace that income. And so I just kept telling myself, like, if I do not get rid of this like time like that I'm giving to these clients, I'm not making time for the right people. Like it's impossible. There's only so many hours in a day, and you have to do it. And so I think that's part of the process too, is like just figuring out how you can get clients. Like I think that another thing that takes time is, I would hope right now you're at a place where like if all your clients went away tomorrow, you would probably feel pretty confident in drumming up new clients.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
exactly.
I'm asking.
Yeah? I feel like that I'm at the point where like I am in control of my income. You know what I mean? Like if I know what needs to be done, you know, I'm a cold email girl all the way. I was just going to ask you how you, yeah. I mean, just amazing successes with cold email. So like, that's just, you know, that's just a matter of how many doors you're going to knock on until you get a yes, you know?
Yeah. That's huge, because it's such a transition, like mindset wise, from having the same paycheck each month to not having that. But when you get rid of that, it's actually the same thing as getting rid of like the shitty client, right? You make space for a bigger opportunity, you know, better income on your terms. And it just takes time to like really believe that that's possible and practice. And so you've got 2 years of doing this. So
and you know, like I said, I mean, like for me, I think too, a lot of it has been a journey in self-worth of like, you know, I just, you know, like believing in myself, you know, like, so, you know, that takes time, or it took time for me, you know, like I'm sure there are people that are starting off at a different, you know, level than I am, but
what did that look like for you? Yeah, no, I mean, me too. When I think back on just the like sheer terror and fear and anxiety I used to like exist in on a daily basis, like I would like open my emails and just be like consumed with dread. you know, to like read a client email because I was sure that they were just going to be like, you are a fraud and I don't know what you think you're doing, but get out of here. You know, I was just, oh, I was such a mess. And I also had to work on like self-worth and also just like having those situations where like a client comes back and they're like, this is wonderful. Like, what can you do this for me next? And I'm like,
Right.
really? Like I kept waiting for someone to like jump out from behind a curtain and be like, just kidding, it's all not real. So
You're really terrible.
you're awful. I don't know what you're thinking. So but for you, what did that look like, that self-worth like kind of mindset journey?
Well, I mean, in many ways, and it's just so weird that I'm saying this. Like it's kind of been tied to, I guess, my ability to accept and receive income. Like it, you know, like it's been like this, just getting to a point where I could say like, all right, I trust myself. I trust my instincts. Like I deserve this. You know what I mean? Like that there's, like the money thing was really, really entangled in that a lot. And I'm still kind of like untangling it a little bit because it's like, you know, now I've gotten to the point where, okay, I'm comfortable with the fact that I can make money. In my mind, I always thought like, okay, well, I just want to be a freelancer. I just want to, you know, like keep my head down and just do my work and make my, you know, 100 grand a year or whatever. And, you know, that's, you know, once I'm there, that's all I need. Right. And like, as a completely single parent. So like, I mean, my son's dad is not in his life at all. Like we got divorced when he was a year old and we haven't seen him since. It's not like I get a $3,000 check every month or whatever. Like, no. So as a single mom, you know, really, by the time you pay taxes and health insurance and all that stuff, like 100 grand, it's not really the life that I dream about. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to take multiple vacations a year and, you know, help him get a car and not saddle him with a bunch of student loan debt. And I look at these other people on the internet that are making millions and I'm like, could I, you know, like,
Yes,
I don't know, like, am I worth that? You know, like, do I deserve that? You know, like, it's like you keep bumping up against these, like, you know, like ceilings of like, okay, I don't know, you know, like kind of just playing with that. And then it's like this whole, like the same set of fears just comes back, you know, of like, no, you're not good enough. No, you suck. Somebody's going to pop out and say, no, you don't really know what you're doing. And that email sequence was terrible. And the sales page sucked. And you didn't get, you know, like,
I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Sit down over there. Like, no, I love to hear you talk about that because I relate to it so much. It's been, you know, it really is incredible how we have all these stories around money. And then also just like for me saying out loud, like I want this for my life. I want this for my family, and feeling like, does that make me greedy? Does that make me a bad person? Like, am I just focusing on money? Cause I don't think of myself as somebody who's just focused on money, but like money does equal freedom and the ability to like make sure your son doesn't have like student loans. Like there are things that come up from that. And I think it's really important to have more conversations around it. I mean, I used to get physically nauseous when I would invest in myself. Like,
oh my gosh.
So my little sister actually just did it. She just invested in like this big course and she kept calling me. She's like, I think I'm going to throw up. I'm like, I know, because we were raised that like good people don't spend money. And like they definitely don't spend money on themselves. You know, they help their family. That's it.
Yeah. It's like sometimes, it's like you don't, I mean, and even sometimes I find myself judging other people of like, okay, well, you know, if you didn't buy that Range Rover, how many kids could you feed with that money? You know?
thing. I'm like, I would never, even if I had that much money, I would never buy that thing. I would feed people. I do the same thing. Oh man.
But then, it's like, yeah, it comes back to, good people do good things with money. And, it's not wrong to want things for yourself and for your child. And the people that are out there making it have no qualms about it,
I think some of them do.
Yeah, maybe.
I think some of them do. I think it's just a conversation we don't have enough. And so there's a lot of like mystery around it. And I don't think we have like an accurate, almost even like view on what our collective beliefs around money are, other than for the most part that it's bad.
Yes.
And that it's like a means to an end.
And yeah, I mean, even, my son said something to me the other day, something negative about, people with money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's interesting. What makes you say that? And we started talking about it, and he's like, well, I guess I heard somebody, like over the years, just like, little comments of, people on YouTube or whatever, making, disparaging comments about people with money, quote unquote. And, it's like just those beliefs, they get built in different ways. And, by the end of it, he's like, why do we make people feel bad about money? You need money to survive. Like, you literally need money to eat. You need money to live and put a roof over your head. Why do we do that? It's like,
we like
I'm
shoot
not
ourselves
sure.
in the foot, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So do you do any mindset work or?
So yeah, I mean, I've been doing mindset work. I've been doing mindset work for a long time. So I first stumbled into that probably about 10 years ago.
Cool.
And I mean, Lordy, how that has changed my life. I mean, but that said, I mean, it's never done. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's just, there's always something that comes up that, it's like, I got to look at and reframe and drop the limiting beliefs and, then move on and then bump into it again. It's like,
yep. And then you think you took
really
care of it, and then it shows up in a different way. Like
exactly.
It's like a mask, and you're like, damn it, I thought
exactly.
I cared.
Exactly.
Well, I love that. That's like, I mean, that's definitely of being in like the journey and being an entrepreneur. Like, all the personal development stuff and mindset work has been the most impactful because without it, I would probably still be charging pennies and like talking so much shit to myself, beating myself up all day long, and terrified to make mistakes. So I just don't do anything at all.
Exactly. I mean, I, thank goodness, getting rid of fear and stepping through fear. I mean, obviously there's still times where I find myself, scared or whatever. But, that I don't struggle with so much anymore, like, I don't care about looking stupid. I don't care what you think of me. Yes, this might suck, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So that's been very empowering. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a huge growth journey. I mean, definitely.
Yeah. I love that though. Life is better on the other side of that hard work, I think.
Absolutely.
It's hard work, but it's a better life. So like, I would rather do the work and be like, this is hard.
I mean, it's like, I used to look at people that would, that were working for themselves and, could call the shots, and, especially like in the wellness space, it's like they would say things like, well, just, go for a walk every day and, meditate for 30 minutes and, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, please, what do you think? Like, there is so much privilege in what you're saying. Like, who has time for that? I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I drive my ass to work. I sit here all day. I get home when it's dark. Like, no, like, like they make you feel like you're lazy or, motivated or whatever for not, being able to do the things that they suggest. And it's like, man, it is so nice to be able to like go for a walk in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I have to remind myself, because now it's been enough years where I'm like, I really need to be like, okay, take a moment. Like the fact that you can do this, because actually people come into the course or whatever, because, you know, I talk a lot about morning routines, and like my morning routine, when I do it, can be like an hour to like 2 hours long. And like, that is such a privilege to be at a point in work and life to be able to do that, because most people can't. But I will say that I feel like, you know, the stories of the mega successes that I see in this course, like with the students in this course, are the ones who woke, like you know, you listen to it on your way to work. You were waking up at 5 a.m. You were doing work after work. And like, I had to do that too. I picked up a server job at one point because I didn't want to have, you know, regular hours, but I needed to make more money.
Yes.
So I picked up a server job so I could work at night and write in the morning, because I'm a morning person. And I was like, wow, I haven't had a server job since college. Like I was just like so down on myself for doing that, but I had to do it. Like I had to do the things that were not maybe my favorite to really get to that next level.
Yeah.
Like it's just part of it.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, that was tough. It was a lot of work. And, you know, I mean, gosh, it was a lot. I'm just not sure like how I did it, but you know, like now that I'm on the other side, yeah, I mean, it's like today, literally, the only thing I have to do is help my son with his school and, you know, take the dogs for a walk. Like,
Yeah,
that's my day. Like,
yeah, on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday, you know, I mean, we've spent, you know, oh gosh, you know, like over the summer, you know, like just going to the pool, you know, like going to the beach, like doing stuff like that, where it's like, wow, you know, when you, like you say, when you really like stop and think about it, it's like, wow, that, like, it's so different and so awesome.
Like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was like you were doing the 5 a.m. thing, cursing the people who had 2 hours in their morning.
Exactly. And now I'm one of those people.
Now you're one of those people.
You know? Man, it's yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So do you mind, so are you how many hours about are you working each week?
Let's see. I would say I'm working probably about 15.
Still, okay.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah. You know, and that includes, you know, the time that I'm spending, you know, quote unquote marketing. I'm trying to like start using Instagram just
that face. Oh,
I'm not a social media person, but like, you know, I feel like a lot of the people in the like launch space are hanging out on Instagram, and I don't feel comfortable with it, so I'm pushing myself to do it.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's something totally new, you know, so it's like, you know, put that extra, you know, who knows if anything will come of it, I don't know, but at least, you know, I'm putting myself out there, and kind of like that little spark of like, okay, well, if I want to be more than a freelancer, and I want to, you know, like do something, teach people, come up with a course, you know, who knows what, you know, like you need a little bit of a social proof of that, like, you know,
yeah,
social media stuff. So, you know, that's including the time that I'm doing that and sending invoices and, you know, whatnot. And like I'm spending a lot of time right now that I normally would spend working, helping my son with his school. So that's been a huge time suck that hasn't exactly, you know, again, super amount of privilege. And, you know, sometimes, you know, we're sitting there doing it and it's like, we're laughing and joking and having fun. And it's like, man, you know, I'm so lucky that like, this is my life. I wish it wasn't, you know, over like science and math and stuff that he just absolutely, but you know,
yeah.
It's still quality time that hopefully one day he'll, you know, look back on fondly.
Yeah.
And
so
yeah, I've got a lot tied up in that right now.
No, that's exciting. And I'm kind of excited. I haven't really talked about it much, but that's definitely what's coming for our group. I'm going to be talking more about that because I think that's on a lot of people's mind, especially people who have been in the course for like almost 2 years. So yeah, I'm excited to have those conversations because I think that is, again, another way of freeing up time, right? Which is what we're all about. So.
Yes.
All
about the freedom.
Do you mind sharing with us what some of your like income has looked like over the few months?
Well, okay. So yeah, I guess I didn't really finish my story, but okay. So
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm like, it's the worst about tangents. So after I quit working with that girl, I had one client that was making me $800 a month. So that was October, the first week of October last year. So I was like, I better get serious. And I will say this, like I had saved so much money that like, it wasn't like, and I did feel pretty confident in the fact that, I could get more clients, mainly because I had that one kind of big name client that gave me a lot of credibility. So, I kind of emailed people like in her circle that like I knew were, kind of maybe a little bit below her. And I mean, every single one of them was like, yes, me, So that was October. I sent out like a handful of cold emails. By November, I was at like probably just under $3,000. December, I was at like $5,000.
Nice.
Now I worked my tail off. I mean, it was like, talk about butt glued to the chair. Like over Christmas vacation, like I was like, I can't talk to you. I have to write, So, by January, I was at like 8,600, I want to say.
Nice. That growth.
It was like, it was just, it was to the point where people would respond to my cold email from like a couple months ago. And I was like, oh gosh, no.
That is hilarious.
I can't do anymore, please. So then COVID hit. March was my first 10K month.
Nice.
Because everybody went insane. Oh my gosh, you got to write all new emails about COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I had that too. I was like, I cannot write about COVID anymore. I got to a point where I was like, at first it was exciting because I felt like it was on like the forefront, like
yes.
And then I was like, wow, I hate this. I cannot write about COVID anymore.
And then they kept changing their minds about like masks, no masks. I was like, oh. And then, oh my gosh, you got to write something about Black Lives Matter. Oh my gosh, it was just like,
it was a frantic year for copywriters.
Oh my gosh,
I'm realizing
so much. So after that, I kind of had to like take a break. I was just like, I've got to cut down. Like I try to go through like my goals every month and like what's working, what's not working, right. What, like what do I want to do next month? And I kept writing, every month since December, spend more time with Colton. But instead of spending time with Colton, I was spending time writing. And part of it was, people were asking me to do things I really didn't know how to do, like write I wrote a couple of launches of like, straight from like, I had to write the video script because I was just modeling after your course, like the free, wrote the video script. I wrote the email sequence, the sales page, the Facebook ads, it's like, I'd never done any of that before. You know what I mean? Like,
now it's your jam.
Asking you to write an email sequence, like, okay, sure. Yeah, I can do that. But I'd never done it. I didn't really know what was involved. I didn't really, you know what I mean? Like, So there was a lot of like, okay, I had to study a little bit, then write the stuff, you know, like kind of figure out back and forth. So it was taking way longer, you know. Now, like I said, I can write an email sequence in a day,
right,
because I've had the practice. So yeah, so once I felt like, okay, I've learned a lot, I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit, but I need a break. Like, I mean, Colton was at home, we were having to do homeschool, and I just was kind of like, okay, stop. So so yeah, things have dipped off considerably. You know, right now I'm hovering between 5 and 6. You know, just kind of depending on what I feel like doing, you know. Sometimes,
that's
you
nice.
know, yeah, I mean, sometimes people are like, hey, can you write this blog? I'm like, I really can't right now. Like, I just, you know, maybe next week, you know, kind of thing. But again, I'm working maybe 15 hours a week with everything. So, I mean, it's like,
Badass.
yeah, I mean, but you know,
cool, you know,
I
to make it
mean,
work for you and how you need it. If you want more
yeah,
time.
I mean, you know, as much as I'd love to say, well, I hit 10K and then I just made 100 grand and lived happily ever after. Like,
No, you're
not exactly, you know, it's kind of like this for me. But I mean, that was totally like my choice and my, you know, just for my own sanity. Because again, you know, my main goal has been freedom, not finance.
right.
But then it's like I said, it's like, okay, they're tied together, whether I like it or not, you know. So yeah, and then now, like I said, any new client I'm taking on is a high ticket deal, you know. Like that's where I'm going. I'm not quite there yet, but
yeah,
that's where I'm going.
that's amazing. Your story like always stood out to me because I loved that, you know, you were one of your goals or whatever was to eliminate your commute because you were commuting so far and missing so much time with your son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And those are, I don't know, like financial goals are exciting, but the ones that really change your life and for you, it was like eliminating a commute, working 15 hours a week and spending so much more time with your son.
Yeah, I mean, it's the quality of life is just, I mean, a complete 180. And the financial goals, you know, I'll get back to them, you know. But this time I'm going to do it on my terms, not on just like what anybody wants me to do.
Be doing. Right.
Exactly. You know, just because you want me to do it doesn't mean I'm going to. And you know, like a lot of that's just come with confidence and time and, you know, knowing that I can produce the click-through rates and the sales and, you know, that fun stuff, you know. So
much to learn, so much to grow. Well, I want to give people a chance to drop any questions in the comments if they have them. And then I also, we're on a roll, but there were a few questions that were submitted. So I want to make sure we get to them.
Oh yeah, sure.
One of them was, what do you wish you knew 4 months into your journey?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I would say literally that there are millions of opportunities and that, I mean, especially to get started on writing blogs, there are literally millions and millions of blogs that need to be written and nobody wants to write them. There is so much work to be done. Like, do not fear. Do not fear.
Nice.
And that, I mean, gosh, that would be my advice to everyone is just do not fear, you know, like no matter where you're at in the journey.
And what would you say to yourself before you got started?
I mean, man, I just wish I hadn't waited so long, you know, like I wish I hadn't. I would say do not fear. Like it's that's all just, it's all in your head. It's all programming. It's all, you know, it's all undoing all of the programming that you've received over the years, you know, like, yes, this is a real opportunity. Yes, you can make good money. Yes, like, you can change your life. Like, do not fear, you know?
I love that. It's also something that I remind myself is like the programming that we like received are from people like our parents mostly, who like their world was so much different from ours.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
going to continue to happen that way. So I'm like,
I mean, you know, it's just, I blame the school system a lot. You know, I think the way that it's set up is it kills creativity. It's designed to make you, you know, programmable basically. And, you know, because the, you know, businesses benefit when they have a, you know, workforce that, you know, doesn't mind sitting in their car for 2 hours a day to go somewhere. And, you know, so it's like, that's a lot to undo, you know, when you're like trying to kind of shake it off and be like, okay, no, but wait, I was told to do it this way, and then these are the results I would get, you know? And like, even when you don't get those results, you still have that idea in your head of like, but I was told that those are the results I'm gonna get, so I still have to keep doing it this way, you know? And like, I mean, I'm older than most of, you know, I think most of the people getting into this are probably younger than me. I'm 43, so like I graduated college in like 1998. There I had planned to go to law school and then got talked out of it, and I had been like top of my class. I was, you know, like I had done everything right. I had, you know, like, and it was like I offered a job making $28,000, and it was just like, what, you know, like, what? And it was like, I was so lucky to get it, you know? And you know, it's like, but I was told that if you go to college and, you know, whatever, then you're going to get out and get a good job. And it's just like, time after time, that was proven to not be a reality for me, you know? But you just keep clinging to that. I kept clinging to that idea for some reason, you know, like.
For sure. A huge one to me, because I feel like I had been saying this for a while out loud, but not with as much confidence as I would probably say it today, is just that the idea that a 9 to 5 is safer, you know? And so, you know, my family for so long would ask me, when are you going to get a real job? So many people, when are you going to get a real job? You know, like that's, what do you do about health insurance? It's like,
yeah,
go buy it. Like
go to healthcare.gov and type in what your income's going to be. Like it's not that hard.
Right. But you're taught that like it's the safe way. And then with this pandemic, so many people lost their jobs. Also, you know, I was just getting out of like college right around the recession. So many people lost their jobs. And I kept being like, why do we think this is such a safe
Why do we think this is
life?
It doesn't make any sense. And like, okay, I mean, you want to talk about stories? I have literally been laid off from jobs like 9 times or something crazy. I mean, just like crazy things would happen. There was September 11th, I got laid off. The real estate downturn, got laid off. My boss had a stroke and drove his car into the office, got laid off. You know, I mean, just like crazy thing after thing happened. And it's like, obviously it's been proven time and time again that a job is not safe. And that 3% bump that you get at the end of the year is never going to turn into real financial independence, you know, like, I mean, I don't know.
No, I totally
the only
agree.
reason, I mean, I bought my first house when I was 21 and like kind of flipped houses along the way over the years. And I mean, that was the only reason that I had any money, you know, like not for my job, you know.
Well, Amy, it is always such a pleasure to talk to you. I can't believe it's
Likewise.
been so long.
Oh my gosh. I can't
Guys,
either. I cannot.
but thank you for sharing your story and I really thank you for your honesty and how like candid you were, because that is always super helpful, I think. And yeah. And wait, do we get to see Thor?
We probably could. I locked him out of my office because
I think I heard him pawing.
yeah, you did hear it. I was like, oh Lord.
No, I love it. I want to see Thor.
All right, let me go get Thor.
Puppy.
Thor. Hey buddy. Come here.
Oh my gosh, look at this baby.
Come here. This is my baby. This is my baby. Can I say hi?
I love it. He's so cute.
He's camera shy.
It's like, okay, I wanted to come in. Now I don't really want to be here anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's like, I don't know.
Oh, well, thank you again, Amy.
Well, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
So
Bye, Amy. Bye, Thor.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.